Good morning. In complement of the season, welcome to Attractive Blowout on Attractive Television Network. Attractive Blowout is a syndicated live program of the network featuring chit-chatting, conversation on special interest topics, news, events, and stories through correspondence reports, expert opinion, and stakeholders analysis. Today we have stories from different states, and the first is from Ondo State, that lawmakers lost Tinubu's economic reforms. And PDP praised Makinde for cancelling birthday celebration amidst the stampede. And from Kogi State, we have that Remi Tinubu distributes 1,000 bags of rice to Christians. And in Sokoto State, fighter jets mistakenly bombs communities. NCS has disbanded border patrol team amidst allegation. And for the yellow tide period, we have Nigerians grown as transport fare and food prices skyrocket. We are open for advert placement, bookings, and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials, on Facebook and YouTube on Attractive Television Network, on Instagram and TikTok on Attractive TV Network 1, on Twitter on Attractive TV Net. Watch us live on our website at www.attractive.net.work.tv. We'll go on a quick break to stay with us. Welcome back. With us here is no other than Ambassador Dr. Ekie C. Ekie. He's a public and political affairs analyst. It's a pleasure to have you here with us, sir. You're welcome.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for making it possible to be here today.
Thank you so much.
Right into the stories for today. Lawmakers representing Ilaje Ese at Odo Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, Honorable Donald Ojogo, has commended the economic reforms of President Bola Tinubu, describing them as difficult steps but very necessary for Nigeria to prosper. Ojogo, who stated this in a statement signed by his Chief of Staff, Oladeji Ebisemiju, noted that Nigerians would soon begin reaping the benefits of the sacrifices made due to Tinubu's reforms. He maintained that President Tinubu is actively working to lift many Nigerians out of poverty, adding that all the economic reforms will continue to enhance Nigerians' growth potential. According to the lawmaker, only a man of courage like President Tinubu could have embarked on such bold and ambitious reforms, saying the president is committed to making life easier for Nigerians by introducing policies and programs that are beneficial to all. Every country in their needs economic redirection like ours cannot avoid the reforms that are currently ongoing. But like childbirth, the pain and whatever effects that accompanying such reforms are temporal and will ultimately lead to positive results. As lawmakers, we have thoroughly examined the processes of these reforms, and the preponderance of views is that they are not just necessary but desirable for the nation. Quickly, Dr. Ekie, I want to ask, do you agree with what the lawmaker has said, that this economic reform that Tinubu has presented, has, put in place, is all actually for the benefit of the country?
Yes, I think, let me join again to wish and congratulate all us Christians during this Yellowtide. Happy Christmas to everyone, and also to you.
Thank you.
It's indeed a pleasure. Today's Boxing Day.
Yes, today's Boxing Day.
We are sure we're not going to box our president or box our country.
Okay, so we'll take it slowly in the spirit of Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd like to say that, first of all, the lawmaker has done the needful. What makes it needful? Because he's able to come out openly to declare his understanding about the policies of Mr. President. And if you ask me, they are in a better position to really tell us what the implications of these policies are. Because as lawmakers, for instance, the president has presented the budget, and the budget most times reflects the picture of what we should be expecting as a nation in 2025. And in trying to x-ray the budget, look at what are the economic policies, what are the programs that government wants to fund in 2025. So I think he's in a better position to inform Nigerians that the economic reforms, the policies are for the betterment of Nigerians. But our own expectations and desires as Nigerians is to see it translate, or manifest in actions. Because we may not really understand the rhetorics, because we are not lawmakers. We are not very, 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 very inside government, even though we are a democratic nation. But they who are in the government, when I mean in the government is for us. Democracy is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So for now, the government is for us. So the people who are in the government, the drivers of the government, will tell us more better. But I believe that with all fairness, Mr. President in this 2024 has shown leadership strength. What is that leadership strength? That leadership strength has to do with the will, the political will that Nigerians has been crying that we do not have leaders that have political will to take some economic decisions and some political decisions. Yes, so I like to commend Mr. President. He has shown that that political will One, in ensuring that we have the local government autonomy, and equally ensuring that most of the policies that looks very difficult for presidents to think. For instance, the removal of fuel subsidy, like the lawmaker is trying to allude. Yes, is a very painful and very, very, huge, decision to take. Like I would tell anybody that every previous administration have desired to remove the fuel subsidy, because it's a way of curbing corruption in Nigeria. It's one of the structures that corruption was so much in this country. That's the fuel subsidy, issue. So for the president to come up to say the subsidy is gone, even though some still feel that one way or the other that we are still subsidizing the payment of our fuel.
Okay.
But that's what, if the government are telling you we are not paying for fuel anymore, for subsidy, well, let us take them by the words they are using.
Okay, in essence, Dr. Ikie, you're saying the fuel subsidy removal was actually to curb corruption.
It's part of it.
So, do you think that there has been any progress during this whole process since 29th May 2023? That, if I'm not mistaken, right? 2023, right? That this fuel subsidy was removed. Do you think that it has actually yielded the results that you feel should have been done? Because there's been cases where this fuel subsidy has actually done more harm than good. Because the president, I remember Labour asked the president not to remove the subsidy if only he has put in place, decisions that will be to the benefit of Nigerians. And he made these promises that this fuel subsidy he's going to remove, he would make sure that it does not affect the economic situation of the country.
No.
But it's now something else. The hardship level has actually increased to the higher level. So I need you to make it make sense.
Well, I think Mr. President has never said that the fuel subsidy is not going to cause economic pains on Nigeria, but he said it's going to be momentary, just like the lawmaker is also affirming. Now, what Nigerians expected, just like he cited the issue of child delivery labor, it's going to be painful, which we are already going through. But once the child is out, is a vision, is a process, is a desire that is intended to better Nigerian. And of course, I want to believe that because of the removal of fuel subsidy, because of the pains and the cries of Nigerians, that's why we realize that Aliko Dangote fuel refinery came on board, and then the Port Harcourt refinery we also had is now beginning to work. And our prayers...
Is the Port Harcourt refinery actually working?
Is
it functioning?
I've not gone there, but what we heard on the public domain, that it has started functioning. Then, so our desire is that let it work very well, and then let the Kaduna refinery begin to work again, Warri refinery begins to work again. If they are all working, we should not be destroying our energy in talking about just one area, because just like our economy revolves around it.
Quickly, sorry, Dr. Ikie, you're saying that this, if the refineries were working and the fuel subsidy was removed, just like the president did, that would have actually been a better situation.
What I'm saying is that yes, it's going to be, if the refineries are working, of course there will even be nothing called subsidy. So it's because they are not working. These products are being refined abroad, and then for you to bring them in. So that's why the money for subsidy actually is coming in. So if our refineries are working, we don't have no item in the budget, no item in issue of our national life will be tagged subsidy. So I want to believe that we have endured, and we are only praying, like I said, that let these good promises, let these good reforms that we have heard governments, putting in place, begin to manifest.
Okay.
When they begin to manifest, we will now begin to say,
okay.
It's like a woman who says, I'm pregnant. And then after 9 months, nobody sees a child, right?
Yes.
Everybody will say, you sure this woman was not faking or lying? So we believe that these economic reforms is not something that will begin to manifest after 4 years or after the tenure of Mr. President. Then we will not begin to, I feel like saying a lie with this man talk. So we want to see it manifest in 2025.
Okay, you talked about a pregnant woman, as a case study. When a woman is pregnant, there's something they call the first trimester and the second trimester. You see changes during this pregnancy level, which consists of change in appetite, body changes, and emotional changes. The woman start readjusting to certain things and all of that. In this reform that you just mentioned, those policies that the president has, put in place, there should have been changes that we would have seen in the process of waiting for the better results. Do you think there has been changes in the process that Nigerians have experienced? Because if you are actually involved in this, you would know that people are actually, the case of the stampede that occurred in Ibadan, Abuja, and Anambra, what was the reason for the stampede?
No.
But I'm not trying to redirect,
No.
leave
No, you have a point.
I'm trying to ask here. Wait, this case study that you gave, we see processes that occur in the case study. And the reform that has been made and put in place by the president, are we not supposed to see progress, little baby steps to the bigger one?
There are progresses, I can tell you.
Can tell
now,
us.
I think, with all due respect, it looks as if most of these stakeholders are hiding the progress of Mr. President. I was at the Nigerian Labour Congress Secretariat in Abuja, and I saw these buses, these gas buses, CNG buses, about 5 or 6 or 10, I can't remember vividly, parked in that premises. And I asked, why are these vehicles parked? The essence of it was for it to alleviate the pains of Nigerian workers. Is that correct? So why is the labor parking that vehicle? Is it that the vehicles are not good? So you come and tell us, because we watched on television, right, that labor, NANS and some groups were giving these vehicles. So I feel that some stakeholders are hiding the progress of this government. And I think it's condemnable. I'm saying from experience, not that somebody told me. I went to the labor house and I saw those vehicles parked. So I want to call on the Labour president, if you cannot manage those vehicles, give it to me. I can manage it to ensure that Nigerian workers, if it is the ones in Abuja, or you can send it to Port Harcourt or any location, I can help you manage it so that Nigerian workers will use it. So I'm also saying that the part of the progress we are seeing, because Mr. President cannot do a project or a program that will alleviate the people better than what a local government chairman or a governor will do. And you will agree with me that this government has given the state governors, the local government chairmen more money than they have ever received before. So the allocations have increased. Why is the allocation increasing? In the wisdom of the federal government and the intention of Mr. President, the local government and the state governors are more closer to their people. So let us give them more money. Are you getting me? So that they can come up with programs. Because what I discover is that local government, state governors across the country are always pointing back the pains of the people to the federal. And which is bad.
So it's supposed to start from the local government.
Yeah, what we are saying is that tell us what you have used with the huge allocations you are receiving currently because of the removal of fuel subsidy. So they are having more money. Local government chairman tell us that, okay, the month A, right? We receive so billions of naira. This is what we have done. So don't be blaming every day bad policies. My dear sister, if you have money, will you be complaining about life, about your welfare? Everything you want to get revolves around money, is it not?
Yes.
So the Nigerians are crying because they are not seeing resources to achieve what they need to achieve. And local government chairmen, state governors are receiving huge amount of money. I'm not holding brief from Mr. President, but I'm only saying that the state government and the local government are the people that are supposed to feel the pains of the people more.
Because they are close to
yes,
the people.
and you have been giving money to take care of the people.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Kier. Before we continue, we have no other than Dr. Nelson V.C. Okene. He's a senior lecturer of the Department of Political and Administrative Studies in the University of Port Harcourt. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. Thank you so much for coming, and Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas
Thank
to
you so much for
Thanks.
joining us to have this enjoyable conversation about the reforms. But quickly, I would love to get your thoughts. What do you have to say about the economic reforms from the president?
I've been listening to my colleague, my dear friend, with rapt attention, but I'm afraid I disagree with a lot of what he's saying. Okay. Well, we can look at things from slightly different points of view. Okay. My first point really is that the whole idea of even demonizing subsidy is laughable. Because subsidy is just another way of government intervening in the economy and trying to alleviate the pains of the people, or try to give special privileges to certain sectors to guide it, to protect it. And all governments all over the world, including the capitalist ones, all have some form of subsidies. America has subsidy on agriculture. There are sectors that they protect for national interest and all that. And what is the subsidy? Government tries to not allow the direct play of market forces within a particular sector in order to benefit some people or help the industry or the sector to grow. Why would a natural economy producing country, an economy where oil is our mainstay, why should Nigerians pay the full cost of the production of oil that is under our feet, that we export under normal circumstances? It doesn't make any sense. For economy or for anything. But we have blown this idea of subsidy as if all the whole problem in Nigeria is hinged on subsidy. The corruption in the oil sector is like corruption in the police, sorry to say. It's like corruption in the educational sector. It's like corruption in the... So why are all the other corruption issues and other sectors not being tackled? Okay, now that Mr. President have demonstrated so much courage, as he said, and removed subsidy, why are the problems not being solved? There's even serious argument as to whether there was even subsidy in the first place, or whether subsidy has even been removed. In fact, government have owned up after that removal that they reintroduced subsidy. And of them have said that subsidy was reintroduced. So why are we still making a lot of argument about subsidy? Corruption should be dealt with anywhere, so that the actual cost of production of these things and the implication for the cost can be settled. If you remove all those additional corruption and all that, maybe the actual price will come down. Okay. When the government published their costs for importing and bringing in fuel, how much of the cost was borne by importation and landing charges? Now that Dangote is producing, how much difference has it made? Okay, we hope that it will gradually come down. But we did not see the kind of dramatic changes that we're expecting. So it's not, I don't think it's really about subsidy. It's about the elite really exploiting this economy, exploiting the masses, taking advantage everywhere and anyhow they can, to continue to hold the masses and the working class to their bootstraps. So that's it.
All right, thank you so much on that. Well, quickly moving forward, we have that the People's Democratic Party, PDP, on Sunday praised Governor Seyi Makinde for what it described as his uneasy compassion towards the people. In a statement issued on Sunday by Debo Olunagba, National Publicity Secretary, the PDP noted Makinde's cancellation of all activities relating to the marking of his birthday on Sunday in solidarity and compassion towards the families of the deceased children and the injured in the recent tragic stampede at a private children's fun fair event in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Governor Makinde's decision is in line with his stance that the purpose and essence of leadership is in pursuing the well-being and comfort of others and not self. Such distinguishes him as a leader with empathy and who at all times has the people's interest and well-being at heart, the party stated. The PDP said it continues to pray and stand with the governor and families of the victims and the people of Oyo State, especially at this trying moment. May the soul of the deceased actually rest in peace, and we sympathize with the families of these victims. But quickly, I would love to ask you, Mr. Kene, this incident, do you think the right decision Makinde did, Oyo State's governor, the right thing to have done in this instance was cancelling his birthday celebration as a governor of a state? Is he supposed to be applauded? Because you cancelled a birthday celebration, there's a stampede in your state. Is that supposed to be the right thing that should have been done in this situation of the stampede?
I like the way you put the question. Is the right thing? In fact, if he had done anything contrary, that is when everybody would have gone up, there would have been an uproar. But in a country where people have taken their responsibilities in governance with a very serious sense of levity, now something that ordinarily should have been the norm is now being celebrated like he did something extraordinary. Okay. He did not do anything extraordinary. He's the governor of the state. And in the midst of that crisis, he cannot go about celebrating his birthday like nothing happened. So he did the right thing. But to go about now making it look like he has solved all the problems of Oyo State, for me, is way out of the question. Okay. But we expect more of that. He should go beyond just cancelling his birthday to actually focus more on policies that help to reduce the poverty in his state, and look for ways of alleviating the pains of those families, and whatever the government can do to reduce the impact of what has happened in the lives of those that we are so massively affected. To lose a child and all that is a very serious trauma. So that when he has instituted certain key policies because of this incident, then we can begin to clap.
All right.
Cancelling his birthday, well, is good.
Oyo State, Mr. Makinde. And then because, well, for any little good anybody does, for me, I believe so much in gratitude. So we thank him. But in any way, this is a season of celebration. And his birthday comes with it. So I do not even think that it will have stopped anything if he goes ahead. There's no way they will not mark that birthday. It can be in a low key. If your wife provided a cake for you to cut on your birthday, will he be saying that, well, it may not go to the media in any way, but there's no way as a person you do not owe God gratitude to tell him, thank you for keeping me up till today. There's never a time problem will not continue. And like my beloved brother said, the problems and the needs of the people of Oyo State, but this commendation comes from the PDP National. So it is being seen like a national example, which I think it should not be so much celebrated. Because I felt that what the PDP should have done is, and what the governor would have done equally. They did not even tell us what the governor did
in essence
in exchange of his birthday. If you tell us that instead of celebrating alone, he now took succor to the widows, he took succor to the needy.
To mark, probably pay respects to the
exactly. So now putting smile on the entirety of the Oyo people, we are not even saying Nigerians, who would have celebrated that effort. But just to stop a celebration of marking your birthday, I just like, okay, the money that was supposed to have been spent, because it's all about spending money. That money is now being channeled for the welfare of all your people. Then we can commend it. But I say, Mr. Governor, you have also done well. But I'm also saying that you should put more smile on the people of your states. Now, but since the PDP is commending you to be like a national issue, I want to feel that suspending your birthday celebration, you should extend the celebration putting smile on we Nigerians by sending little things to us across Nigerians, because it is Nigerian PDP National that is celebrating what you have done.
Yes.
So we want to feel the impact of your decision in putting smile on us in this celebration period.
Okay.
So that's what the focus we are looking at. So that party you would have done, extend the party now, because the people have died. The family needs to be comforted. Right?
Yes.
The families needs to be celebrated because they have lost their dear ones. In fact, it was because of food that they had this problem.
Okay.
So now send food to people of your state, isn't it? That would have said, the food was too small. Oh. As a governor, I am pained that we did not provide enough. Am I communicating?
Yes.
So because of the mistake in governance, we have taken it upon ourselves as a government to ensure that this Christmas, all of your families have what? Food to celebrate with. You see, by doing that, you have solved the problem.
Yes.
You have comforted the people. Because, believe you me, if there is another food sharing somewhere else, crowd will still gather.
Yes.
Am I communicating?
True.
So I feel that if you want to solve the problem, solve it by providing the solution. Telling me sorry when you know that I need money to feed and you have the money to give me. Are you not mocking me? So I feel that, Mr. Governor, you can empty the treasury this season and ensure that the people of your state are happy. Am I communicating?
Yes.
If it is more than enough, extend to us here, because we are Nigerians, so that we commend you more. But in any case, happy birthday to you, and wish you more prosperous years ahead.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kie, on that. Well, to the next story, First Lady Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu has donated 1,000 bags of rice, or 50 kg rice, to Kogi chapter of Christian Northern Nigeria Political Forum for distribution to her members across the state. While flagging off the distribution in Lokoja on Wednesday, the Deputy National Coordinator of the forum, Elder Ibrahim Itodo, said the forum was formed in the heat of the Muslim presidential tickets in the last election. He said the forum was not specific in kicking against the Muslim arrangement, but considered it expedient to have a mix of the two major religions for the unity of the country. He commended the wife of the president, Oluremi Tinubu, who for recognizing the forum by donating 1,000 bags of rice to cushion the effects of economic reality on the Christians during the Yuletide. The former lawmaker stated that this palliative is to lessen the economic situations of the Christians at this time of the celebration, stressing that the people should renew their hopes as government is working hard to improve the lives of its citizenry. He advised Nigerians to remain resolute in their support for policies and programs of the government, no matter the present hardship, hinting that at the end of the tunnel, the country will witness a lease of lives. In a remark, the state coordinator of the forum, Madueke Efariem, described the First Lady as a caring and loving mother, as the rice would go a long way in reducing financial burden on beneficiaries during the Christmas and New Year celebrations. This is a commendable effort. But we would still have to face the true facts. 1,000 bags of rice, is that actually how to solve a problem coming from the First Lady of the country? I will start with you, Dr. Kie. We are not condemning anybody in this instance, but we want to get it right. What do you have to say about this?
You see, the rice is designated to a forum. And you and I do not know the membership of that forum to a very reasonable extent.
Okay.
I do not have problem with that, because there could be 50 members and it was given 1,000.
Yes.
There could be 1,000 persons. There could be 10,000, we do not know. But what we saw is that the forum accepted it with gratitude.
Okay.
But the only worriedness I have, politically and in terms of governance, it looks like marginalization. I know that the president's wife, if it is the focus, but I saw the picture of the president too, and I know that the president is releasing rice, has released rice across the federation. It's just that we have not seen our own here in Rivers State. But I know that so many states have also seen. As a politician that the leader of this group is, I also hope that it is not the one that is meant for maybe the Christian Association of Nigeria of Kogi State that has been hijacked. I also want to believe that it is not right that the president's wife will only celebrate a particular forum. Because I know that there are 1,001 religious group that supported Mr. President in that election.
Okay.
So are you going to appreciate a particular forum alone to eat rice and other religious group that supported Mr. President to win? So we will not eat rice. So are you also telling us politically that this is the only viable religious group that supported Mr. President that is recognized? So I think that what is being done is a kind of marginalization. Okay. It's a political disadvantage, you know, media presentation that has been done. Okay. Because I think that other groups will feel bad if they do not get. So I want to say Mrs. Remy, Senator Remy, or Excellency, my beloved First Lady. Okay. I like to say you have done a good thing. But the good you will do if there is something gooder or best.
And being a good mother.
Hey, she's a good mother already for taking that initiative. Okay. So I like to say that begin now to look out for other groups too. I do not know how these ones find their way, but because the senator is a politician, okay, there are groups that are not having a senator as their leader that also supported Mr. President. Okay. And even if it is a thank you, you can also thank some group too in advance that are already supporting this government too. So I think that the distribution of rice should not end with that group alone. Okay. You have done well. It's the right step in the right direction because we all eat rice during Christmas now. So I want to feel that since you want Christians to eat rice, I feel that there should be no partiality now. You are now first lady for Nigerians, not first lady for a particular section or group. So I think what has been done, it is right and not also perfect. Okay. So for Mrs. President to make it a perfect one, let her make sure that all Nigerian Christians,
because we are all one,
yes, should have rice to eat. And like I said, Mr. President, I've started. Okay. I am aware that rice has been distributed across the country, but I'm only saying that we have not seen Rivers own, and we pray that Rivers State own will get to Rivers people, so that Rivers Christians will enjoy this rice and this magnanimity of Mr. President. So while that one is coming, my first lady also add your own, because Rivers say we have plenty Christians, and you know you got plenty vote from Rivers people, so that we can also say you have told us thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you. But Dr. Nelson, please, I love to get your thoughts about this story. What do you have to say?
He has covered quite a lot of ground, and I would not want to be repeating what he said.
Oh, okay.
But for me, the issue he raised about the choice of Kogi State and the choice of that particular association actually resonates. How do you make that kind of choice? Okay. And when you sit in public office, you must think in terms of not just beneficiaries of certain policies, but also in terms of dissensions and how others will respond to that. You must think holistically. Okay. And when you are in that tone of mind, then it's easier to do the right thing. Okay. The other thing that is really worth emphasizing too is that I have a problem with what Nigerian politicians have turned these citizens and this country into. The weaponization of poverty. They expect us to roll on the ground to thank them for giving peanuts when they are in a position to empower the people. And now, yes, people need the rice. They will take it. They'll be happy. They'll be very grateful. They want to eat. But how did we get here? Is that what governance should be? That now you give the rice, 1,000 bags of rice, and people are rolling all over the place to thank you, appreciate you? No, we should go beyond this. this is the same atmosphere that also fuel all sorts of election manipulation and vote buying during election cycles. When people, because of poverty, people are open to all sorts of manipulation. Governance should be about generating prosperity, security and safety for everybody, making life easy, making the environment easy for people to work out their living, to invest their energy and talents and get maximum returns on those efforts and all that, and not, you know, becoming Father Christmas when you are in power. No.
Oh, thank you so much in that. Well, moving forward, many lives were feared dead and several others sustained injuries after a fighter jet aimed at targeting the Lakurawa terrorist group mistakenly bombed 2 communities in Silame local government area of Sokoto State. The incident, which occurred around 7 a.m. on Wednesday, affected the villages of Gidan, Sama, and Rumtuwa. According to locals, these communities are situated near Surame Forest, known to be a hideout for Lakurawa members and bandits. A resident of Silame, Malam Yahaya, confirmed the proximity of the villages to the forest, while another source disclosed that over 10 villagers were killed in the airstrike, with many others injured. Alhaji Abubakar Muhammad Daftaran, a chairman of the Silame local government, acknowledged the attack and stated that efforts were underway to determine the extent of the casualties and damage. The villagers were sitting peacefully when the bombs started dropping in the communities. They were innocent and peace-loving people who had no any criminal record. It was early for me to confirm the number of people either killed or injured because we were still assessing the development, he said. Efforts to get comments from the Sokoto State Police Command proved unsuccessful as the spokesperson ASP Ahmad Rufaya declined to comment, citing that the incident was outside the purview of police operations. Do I say police injustice, or the common man got into a situation that is unavoidable? But coming from a security, the troop that has been trained, I'm sure they were actually trained to release these bombs to the Lakurawa groups in the forest. The fact that it entered 2 different communities at different instances is actually another thing for concern. But quickly, let me not say most of the things I have to say. I would love to ask you, Dr. Kene, and the spokesperson in the community, Alhaji Mohammed, has actually said that they've made comments. They've taken the issue to the police command, but they said it is not under their jurisdiction. In cases where this has actually been done, mistakenly people were affected, is the police not supposed to get involved in the situation? You know, I want to get a thought about this because I'm really not certain about what to say about this, please.
Okay, first thing is that what has happened is quite unfortunate for citizens in their own domain to suddenly be bombed to death when they are not in a state of war is very regrettable, and I sympathize with the families and all those ones that have found themselves in such situation. The other thing is that accidents do happen.
Okay.
No matter the level of training and sophistication of weaponry and all that, accidents do happen, and that's why they are called accidents.
Okay.
But it's also important to note that given the kind of stories we have had in the past concerning the operations in some parts of the north and over this fight against the insurgency and all that,
Okay.
That there is a need for this matter to be properly investigated.
Okay.
To know, because anything we say now just amounts to speculation, to determine whether this was actually maybe a technical fault or a mistake,
okay,
or whether it's even sabotage.
Okay.
Whether they were targeted or whether it's sabotage.
Okay.
Because there is also a chance that communities living close to such environments could be sources of information.
Okay.
They could be sources of information for the army, for the police. They could be, that could be a sort of punishment. That could also be a technical error. That could be sabotage. In fact, it could be anything as at now until it is properly investigated. Okay. And this needs to be addressed. Now, for the police, I think I understand why the police will want to say, no, this is outside our operational area. Okay. A sister agency is involved, and naturally they should be the ones at the forefront stating what happened. Okay. If the police meddles, there could be ill feelings between the agencies. They need to stay back and hear first from those who are directly involved before they come in. Okay,
thank you so much, Dr. Okene. More quickly, Dr. Key, I would love to get your thoughts about this.
Well, I'm trying to condole with the families of the affected in Sokoto State. But again, I also like to thank God that we now have a fighter jet that can help curb insecurity in Nigeria. And I also want to commend that it's alarming also to hear that there is a new group again, Lakurawa, that we have been hearing about Boko Haram, this one and that. So like for me, another group is out again, and let me also commend the military for trying to be responsive in ensuring that this kind of group do not escalate, so I think it's commendable. But I also like to encourage, if you hear the story that the community is close to the forest, close to the forest, so it's very, very risky, very, very risky. But I still thank God that they have a spokesman. It means that that community was not annihilated. It was not completely wiped out. Even though one person died or two, we do not celebrate it. We condemn that actions and we sympathize with them. But I like to encourage that the very reason, the intent of the security operatives should be achieved, because their intention is to see that this group do not exist, do not continue. I think that was the intent. So I think that now that lives have been lost, but we have not gotten the full details, if actually they have been able to dislodge, and then this group were also affected, this community. So is when the report, like my brother said, doctor, that a good investigation should be done. And I believe that Nigerians will await the report of that investigation. So, but we would like to celebrate them more if we hear that they were able to carry out a successful operation, even though lives were affected, innocent people. So, but that's when we really applaud them. But in any case, we would like to salute their courage in trying to make sure that Nigeria becomes a safe place for Nigerians. I don't think their intention was bad. But like I said, I'm happy now that we are seeing a fighter jet. We are seeing the response of the military, being celebrated openly, apart from what has happened. I know they are doing quite a lot, but I want to say that their responsiveness in this issue of this group that we just had, I think is commendable. Don't give up in this fight in ensuring that Nigeria is safe for everybody. So I commend your effort and also sympathize with the people who are bereaved.
Okay, thank you so much on that. We will go on a quick break. When we return, we will continue with the rest of the stories. Just stay with us. welcome back. The Nigerian Customs Service (NCS) has announced the dissolution of its Joint Border Patrol Team (JBPT). The Public Relations Officer of the NCS, Abdullahi Maiwada, in a statement on Tuesday said the decision was made after due consultation with the Office of the National Security Advisor. The House of Representatives had, on December 11, mandated its committees on Customs and Excise Defense to investigate the operations and activities of the NCS across the nation's borders over alleged complicity in aiding smuggling and involvement in brutality against Nigerians. The committees were also directed to examine the role of military personnel attached to customs patrols in order to ensure their operations comply with legal frameworks and human rights standards. The resolutions followed the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance by Rep. Sesi Wingan, who alleged that rather than prevent smuggling, recent reports showed that customs personnel across the borders were aiding and abetting smuggling. But the customs spokesperson explained yesterday that the dissolution of the Joint Border Patrol Team was part of the NCS efforts to strengthen border management and reinvigorate its 2025 enforcement strategy. I don't know if both of you are aware about the smuggling situation and the harassment that people actually face at the border. You know, we just talked about a situation, you know, that about this whole rice distribution. Sometimes, let's say the government, they talked about the one that the government has released into the states, you know, are to be distributed, and then you said about the ones that has not been brought into river states. You know, let's say that there's a case where there was a situation at the border in the country, and then the custom personnel have to lay hold of this things. There was actually a scenario where these custom officials, most of this substandard contraband products that they were held of, that they got hold of, they decided to sell them. Oftentimes they sell them, and sometimes when goods are released for, when there was about in people with disability, there was a time that the government actually got rice for people with disability in Sokoto, or one of the northern states, if I'm not mistaken. And these custom officials held these products, you know, these palliatives that were released, and did not release them. You know, there's been cases of personal human harassment at the border. There's been cases of corruption, taking money from people that bring in contraband goods into the country, allowing them past the border. There's been cases, the smuggling situation, there's been lots of issues that have been going on. And then we have the Nigerian Customs Service has disbanded the Border Patrol Team, you know, to stop these allegations that has been going on about smuggling. But I would love to ask you quickly, Dr. Kie, what is your thoughts about this? Do you think the disbandments will actually curb the issue of smuggling in the country at the borders spots?
Well, I think what the Nigerian Custom is trying to do is to take responsibility in the allegations towards them. So that if we are saying we are aiding smuggling, whereas we have joint task force, then your allegation may not be very fair on us. So let it be that this joint task force is no longer in existence, so that anything that happens around our borders, which is our sole responsibility and mandate as a service, can, you know, be directly alleged to us, and we can also take responsibility. So I think that's part of it. And again, on the issue of smuggling is an illegal way of bringing products. That's why it's even smuggling. And the custom is in their responsibility to ensure that it doesn't go through that way, that the products being, you know, brought into Nigeria comes through the right certification. Now, part of the challenges, like you talk about the Sokoto one, there are borders close to Sokoto, you know, and sometimes they are trackable. So the fact that you bought the rice either in Niger you know, that is closer to you, or one of these African brothers or countries, that you can put it in a vehicle and bring, is meant for people with disability. The fact that the process was illegal, it does not make it legal, despite whoever that owns it. And you agree with me that the issue of bringing foreign rice is not very much too legal. So if you bring a product that is not legitimate, that is not acceptable here right now, and the custom accosts it, there's no way that the law gives them the prerogative after a certain time to auction those products, right? So they have the right to auction it.
Okay.
Yes, the government gives them that right. So, and when it is auctioned, the resources are given to the federal government.
Okay.
So I think that what we should be appealing right now is that the Nigerian custom should continue to be alive to her responsibilities, and then smugglers, we should, you know, avoid this issue of smuggling. It is very risky. You can die, you know, during smuggling a product. It doesn't worth it. So I want to also feel that the Nigerian custom should continue to do the needful, and let us keep on supporting them, and let us also stop smuggling.
Okay, thank you so much on that. Sorry. Dr. Kene, please, I'd love to get your thoughts about this story. What do you have to say? Sorry.
Okay, first for me is to reiterate the importance of border security for any nation. Border security is very, very, very important for a country. Any country that cannot man its borders is a joke, especially in modern times, because you can have all sorts of problems because of porous borders. The one that have become very visible is allegations connected to people coming from outside to vote during elections. But what about crime? What about bringing in substandard products? What about denying the government of legitimate revenue from bringing in goods through the right sources?
Okay.
So border security is very, very important. And any effort that is geared towards doing the right thing at the border and making sure that people do not just cross the border of the nation without proper checks and proper identification is in the right direction.
Okay.
Another thing that also appears to excite me a little about the news is the involvement of the House Committee. If their activities and oversight functions have played any role in this direction, then that is very, very commendable. We expect more of that because that is what should happen in a democracy, that the legislature, through their oversight activities, are able to influence what is happening on the executive side by having some influence on their operations and helping to curb their excesses. So that is very welcome. Now, whether it was something initiated by the Nigerian Customs Service, or it was because of the inquisition and interest from the House Committee, if it contributes in any form to overhauling the border security, then that's good. Okay. Because for a long time, in fact, the border service have acquired that kind of notoriety that is associated with the police, rightly or wrongly, with respect to what they do and how they do it, and how they have become almost symbols of corruption. So that might not be correct in all the cases or in all the posts, but they need to do more. They need to do more to clean up that because of the sensitivity of their role for the economy and for the safety of the nation. Okay, so that's something in the right direction.
Thank you on that, Dr. Kene. But I would like to ask a quick question here. I would like to throw it out. The issue of corruption it's been an unending, question that we do not know when and how it should be sorted out. This issue of the Nigerian custom deciding to disband the border patrol, do you think that this decision is something that, would aid a result that this issue of smuggling will not continue do you think that it will aid that results that they want to get?
In the best airports and the best border patrols all over the nation, all over the world, smuggling is an ongoing activity. Even for the U.S. with all their sophistication, the U.S.-Mexico border, it records series of incidents of smuggling every day. The more the agencies up their game in trying to prevent smuggling, the smugglers also change their pattern. So it's an ongoing thing. It's like wearing a shirt and not expecting it to be dirty. So
wearing a white shirt.
Any shirt for that matter, and not expecting. If you wear a shirt, you must wash it. So if you are in governance, if you are in those areas, corruption is an ongoing thing. And the problem is the degree. At certain levels, corruption becomes debilitating. It becomes it creates a dysfunctionality for the system. But at a lower level, then it's manageable, and it appears like the system is perfect. But to say total corruption, you can't have it anywhere.
There's no way that
a
we
total
should be
absence, you
expecting
can't have it
absence
anywhere.
of corruption in this system.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, doctors, on that. Moving forward, the Nigerian Christians joined their counterparts across the world to celebrate this year's Christmas. The prevailing hardship across the country is taking its toll on many families. The season comes with traveling, cooking of special delicacies, buying clothes for children, subscribing to infrastructure such as Christmas trees and other decorations, buying hampers and special gifts for loved ones, among others. But this year, not many people are smiling. The galloping inflation in the country indicates that for many people, we recall that the government announced free train rides and 50% cuts in road transportation fare between yesterday and January 5th. Transportation Minister Said Kali, who gave an update on the initiative yesterday, said the government came up with a gesture to cushion the effects of the economic crunch on ordinary Nigerians. Kicking off the 50% slash in road transportation, Senator Akali said 644,000 passengers would be conveyed to various parts of the country with 708 vehicles within the next 13 days. I don't know if any of you are traveling. Okay, you travel with your private cars.
Well, let me say.
Have you heard about the increase in transportation fare?
I came back from Abuja on Sunday, and then the price is about for air is about 280 something thousand.
Okay.
The minimum. Then for you to bring things from Abuja to Port Harcourt, if it is one that will take seats, the minimum is 60 something thousand.
Without a passenger.
That's if you have a load that will occupy a seat.
Okay.
Which means the seat is about 60 something thousand to 70 something.
Okay.
Now the big question is, we have heard that the price of fuel have gone down to 900 and something. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, even if it was at the rate before Christmas season, is it being increased to 2,000? The big question is, Nigerian transporters have decided to be wicked on Nigerians. It has nothing to do with government. Coming on television to tell us that because of removal of fuel subsidy was removed and you increase the price of your transportation either to 30,000 or 40. How come you have doubled it because of Christmas and you are still giving the same flimsy excuse? So it's just wickedness of transporters towards Nigerians. So it has nothing. It's a recent development. Yes, you can. Yes, you can ask anybody.
Well, the government has actually made provision of 50% slash.
No. You see, when you talk about how many vehicles do the government have?
I heard about this.
What is
that percentage?
What is that? Yeah, and so where is it located?
Okay.
So if you are bringing vehicle on a day where people will not travel,
or at the location where
does it make any sense? So that's why I commend some state government like Cross River State, who had to arrange for flights for cross riverians in Abuja and in Lagos, free flights. And then I also saw in news Abu Aodua providing mass transit buses, free buses for their people from Motor Park. At least there are designations where these things will en route. And some other leaders that have done notably well to reduce this pain. But the issue of transport hike is the wickedness of transporters. And I think it's not the question of even saying they are just wicked people. Because you cannot allude it to removal of fuel subsidy. Had it been the price of fuel increase, rather it decreased though, I don't know whether I'm communicating. But even if it was 1,150 or 1,200 you bought before Christmas time, or now the price have gone to 2,000, is that correct? You can tell us, the public, that why we have increased it double is because that they have increased the petroleum price. At that point, we will now be saying, Baba, what is happening now? Tinubu, what is happening? Is that correct? But in this case, Mr. President have even reduced the price of the fuel. Okay. So what we expect the transporters is to also reduce the price, not to make it double. So I don't think everything blaming Mr. President, blaming the government, we are the problem of ourselves. Okay. So it has nothing to do, I can tell you authoritatively, which you know, that these prices are just a recent thing. Okay. And we are saying that it's not good for humanity.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ikiye. Well, quickly, I would love to get your thoughts, Dr. Kene. And also about the food prices and the fact that when it gets to the festive period, the prices increases more than before, just like Dr. Ikiye said.
When he kept emphasizing wickedness of Nigerians and all that, I was just shaking my head. I think that primary economic analysis, we put it at the interaction between demand and supply. Okay. Because if they increase all those prices, whether it is of food or transport, and there are no persons there, they will bring it down by themselves. And what you would have noticed before this festive period is that because of general cost in transportation, Nigerians are now more mindful about their movements. Yeah, and that have hit the transport sector heavily. So this festive period now, they suddenly have people coming out and they want to leverage. That is what is actually happening. They want to leverage. I think that Nigerians are learning, and people are now becoming more careful with their choices and their travels, and opting for ways of making sure that they are not always on the road when it is not very necessary. We like moving a lot, but people are now learning how to stay in their homes and reduce their movements to the times when it is absolutely necessary. Again, I think that ultimately, there is nothing within the economy or the space of a nation that is outside the responsibility of the government. The idea that we are privatizing and government in a developing economy, and government now choose to completely remove their hand from certain sectors, gives undue advantage to private people to exploit. Now, so that even when government have stated their policy intentions, their policies are not having any effect in certain sectors. That will tell you that there is need for government to come into that sector. Now, I don't think there is anything in any private economy that stops local governments, state governments, from owning businesses, from having transport sectors, that from having some percentage, if they have more, and they have decided as a government that want to reduce the cost, it will directly influence the pricing of the private sector.
Yes.
But because they are completely absent, they have abandoned governance in that sector.
A case of the CNG buses that, like you mentioned, that
How
was
many?
only released in Abuja.
How many?
And not other states.
How many? That's why they should come more into those sectors, so that their policy thrust or pronouncements can begin to have real effect in the life of Nigerians.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, doctors. Thank you. This is a much we can take for today. Thank you so much, Dr. Kene, for coming. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
For coming in midst of the festive period and your tight schedule. I really appreciate your presence.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kia, for also
My
coming.
pleasure.
Because this is a festive period and it's a family period, but you decided to be here to honor this invitation. I really appreciate it. Thank you. This is where we wrap it up on this episode of Blowout. Thank you for joining us. So we are also open for advert placements, bookings and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials, on Facebook and YouTube on Attractive Television Network, on Instagram and TikTok on Attractive TV Network 1, on Twitter on Attractive TV Net, which is live on our website at www.attractive.net.org.tv. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Open conversation comes up shortly. Don't go away. I am Chidima Wadike. Have a beautiful day and Merry Christmas to all of us, and Boxing Day actually. Merry Boxing Day. That's the word like that. So have a good day.